Nobody's gonna watch this anyway. Well,
all right, G-Lo.
I think that was a success.
Yeah, good time. Good time.
It's a great time.
So, we're gonna talk about this song a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Describe to me your perspective of us starting the song and how that went.
You started making the beat probably like November or December of last year.
Yeah.
Probably like 6 or 7 different sessions until the 8th session, which wasn't, I think I did the last verse or something at your house, like 2 in the morning. Yeah, split up into a bunch of different sessions. I like how we took our time with it because, I mean, we were both pumping out a lot of music in between when we started the song up until right now.
Right.
I mean, we've both put out a project. You put out, I don't even know how many singles.
6.
6. Yeah. I'm just glad we took our time with it because it came out exactly pretty much how we envisioned it in the very beginning.
Yeah, initially I remember us sitting down to make the beat, getting a skeleton of it. I took it home, started adding some things, and I remember it took me a little while because I wanted a sample in there, but I didn't end up putting a sample. But then once I came back for the second session, you already had a verse, I think, right?
Yeah, you came back with the beat, and then we were, like you said, you were going over the skeleton of it, and I said the progression was all a part of the plan. You were like, yeah, keep going. I was like, for real? And yeah, and that's how that started. And then I finished the verse. We knocked the first verse out fairly quick. It was the second verse because we hadn't had a session in like a while, and then we came back to that.
Yeah, both being dads and all.
Being dads, man. Yeah.
I think my son was born like a month or 2 before we started working on the song, so he was like fresh born, and you had your baby who's
1 at the time.
Yeah, she's 1 and wild, so we're like trying to have these sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
But we made time for it.
We did.
Initially, I didn't envision myself getting on the song, but then I remember us thinking like, oh, a singer would be good on the hook, and I can kind of sing, so you were like, just go for it.
Just go for it, yeah.
And I closed my eyes, and I sat there, and for some reason I saw you standing in the middle of a 4-way intersection. I don't know why. It was like one of those crazy, like, I don't know, I feel like maybe most people close their eyes and they can envision something random.
You told me to shut up, basically, and you were like, I got this. It's like 10 minutes of like silence. I see green lights.
Yeah, and I was just like, I see green lights.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it just like felt right. And then I was like, okay, I see green lights. Where does that go? And it was just real, like, off the cuff, creative process, just trying to hatch out the lyrics. And then it slowly developed into a metaphor. And I was like, oh, this is sick. This makes sense. And then I think you had already written some of your verse already, like enough to where what was unfolding, it was almost like what was unfolding lyrically for the hook just lined up perfectly with what you were talking about in your verse, and I was like, this feels right, this fits.
I want to talk about the no profanity that you had me go around. I like that.
So the song almost got scrapped.
It don't worry. No, you said, G-Lo, you said, I would love to be a part of the song, but...
Well, what did you say? What was the lyrics that you initially said?
There's a couple fucks in there.
Yeah, there was an F-bomb, and then there was like some kind of depressing shit, and then I was like...
Oh, yeah, I said, I moved from the light, my future's still bright. You're like, that, I don't like
you
that.
You moved from the light? We don't do that. Like, we don't do that.
So, yeah, it took a little bit of... working around it. Like I said, I'm glad we took our time, and I'm glad it came out the way it did, because it came out perfect. And I think the perception that it's getting is, I'm not surprised, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think something that bears mentioning is kind of like the pop element of the record, which is also why I wanted it to be somewhat family friendly. Because when I wrote the hook, for some reason I envisioned Alicia Keys singing it, and I still, like, when I hear it, I hear Alicia Keys. I don't hear my voice.
That's fire.
So that's kind of like my thoughts on it, and I was like, I think this is really likable, really catchy, and I think it's worth putting the time in to see through, to be like more than just you know, a quick little record that we throw out.
Or like just like a rap record.
And I think your
mean?
verse like fits our generation so well.
Oh, for sure.
It's just like, yeah, this
especially like what I'm saying too. Like I didn't even realize what I was actually saying until the song was done. It took me a minute to even understand my own verse until I heard it back, both the verses together because they both correlate.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't even realize. I mean, I realized it as I was writing it, but until I heard the whole song together, I was like, damn.
That's important. That's important because I feel like it came from a consistent place. You know, it was like a stream of thought that was like really how we felt.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we were able to articulate it as well as we did. What's your favorite bar?
My favorite bar, honestly, either the very first bar of the first verse or the very first bar of the second verse. Because the first verse, the progression was all a part of the plan. I cleansed my soul with a phone call to my mans. I was about Jake. Sleep, Coco, a man of many names. Shout out him. So I had called him one time I was going through it. I think I had a long binging week of alcohol and gambling activity probably. And I was like just going through it and cleanse my soul because we would like talk. You guys do the same thing. That was kind of when we were all back and forth having like hour-long conversations just about
we were all sharpening
our swords and everything, and we would have these conversations, and I would feel like I had a calling from God or something after I got off the phone with him every time, and I was like, damn, this is better than therapy. This is fire. That bar definitely stands out, and then the second bar, the first verse, my phone died, somehow I felt alive, unplugged from what we forced to believe through our eyes. That's pretty self-explanatory, I guess, and it kind of sets the tone of what I'm saying in both the verses, I guess, you know?
For many reasons, I mean, there's so many bars that hit deep, but right now where I'm at in my life is the algorithm, the aesthetics on the internet's pathetic, and the algorithm was never our friend. So just forget it.
That's
we dope in real life.
Yeah,
that's
we dope in real life. I wouldn't say I forgot about that, but I guess that's kind of even the first bar and the second verse. Those two go hand in hand because that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's why we're doing things like this, and I wouldn't even say trying to defeat the algorithm because I mean you can't beat the algorithm, but at least just putting out other things and other ways to push like the song or whatever we're doing rather than just like link in bio
and bringing people together, you know, like I think
that's what this is.
The idea that we have to throw a show in efforts to try and like bring this song to people live is gonna be sick
for sure.
The sentiment behind it all is like, come see us, you know, come see us.
See how we get down live.
It's never a better time than now. The green light is on. Let's go. All right. Sounds good.
Much love you, brother. You know what it is.
Glad working with you.
Much
Shout out Riley behind the camera.
Can't go wrong.
Gracias, family.
Yep.
All right.
95.
Peace.